This week was the final week of my first 6 weeks back with the sixth graders, and it was a hurricane. Um, the kids had so much work to do this week, and I'm really, really proud of them because today they finally turned it all in, got it off, their slate, and I'm just really proud of all of what they've accomplished this week because it's been a ton. And I introduced it that way in the beginning, and they were a little nervous, but gave a lot of directions throughout the week and kept encouraging them. And every single student turned everything in today on Friday. I was very, very surprised and impressed. Just as always, their writer's notebooks were due at the end of this week, so that was nothing new to them. Did a lot of quick writes in them this week, and we actually today did this really interesting station day where it was called Where Does Writing Live? And they went around to 6 different stations playing with words and having fun in their writer's notebook, learning different kinds of little writing strategies and stuff. Because this week, the purpose of this week was kind of talk about more of like the grammary issues, but relate them directly to students' writing so that they were relevant because they were doing so much composing this week that I thought that just having a couple of like the requirements that the sixth grade Virginia SOLs for language arts include, just a little bit of that background would really help them in the pieces that they're creating this week. But readers logs they turned in on Monday instead of just letting me check on Monday. And so I went through and I actually read all of their entries for the whole semester and gave them a bigger reading grade based on the quality of their entries because they were expected to use the reading strategies we had been talking about, like summarizing, synthesizing, asking questions, making predictions, making connections to your own life. And they all looked really great. But since I had the reading logs all week, they were asked to just do 2 days this week instead of the normal 5 and turn it in on Friday because they normally have until Monday. So since I cut 3 days off of their time, I required 3 days less. And they were doing so much work that they appreciated, like, the pressure letting off in one area a little bit. So they just did a separate sheet of paper, one half page paragraph for both their entries, and that was that. They had a book project to do this week, very similar to what we used to do in teaching adolescent lit, where they picked one of the books that they had read so far in their readers logs this semester, and they made either a visual with words, a visual without words, a skit, or a song to explain their story and to tell other people why they should also read the story, convince a new audience to enjoy the book. So that was really cool. And they're looking really good so far. I have tons of posters downstairs to look through over the weekend, and from what I'm seeing, they're looking really nice, and I'm excited to, go through those. Um, the last big thing was they had a portfolio piece due. Now, what they had to do with this is look through their entire writer's notebook, and they have tons of entries by now. Okay. Um, and they needed to pick one entry, whether it was a quick write or a homework assignment that they had done in there, anything that was real writing, not a song, not a skit, not a comic, not a drawing, nothing like that, but something that was real writing, like a creative piece, a poem, nonfiction, a quick write, an expository, or a persuasive piece or whatever, and they had to expand it, blow it up. So if they had a quick write that they had originally only had 5 minutes to work on, now they could finally give me all the details and all the thoughts on that, and they just really had to blow it up into a 2 to 5 page paper. And I was really surprised with a lot of the kids' lengths because when I said 2 to 5 page paper, they were all like, "What? Like by that do you mean like 28-point font and like quadruple spaced?" And I was like, "No." But there's plenty of like 3 to 4 page papers downstairs, which I was really, really impressed with. So that will be fun to go through as well. And that's their last big assignment for English this week. I'm gonna get those all graded, and then I'm gonna enter them into the book on Monday. Grades are due to the office on Wednesday, and they're gonna get their report cards, I think, next Friday. So that'll be awesome. And I'm really excited for what we're gonna start for the next 6 weeks, my last 6 weeks with them. We have a 1 week English unit based on research coming up, and in social studies we're doing the antebellum period, and then 4 weeks of language arts and social studies combined to be language studies and social arts as we do the Civil War and reinstate our military game, which will be awesome. This time it will be the Navy instead of the Army, and the kids are going to have a great time. We're going to hit tons of objectives, all kinds of different assessments, technology, action research will be in there, a big writing thing. It's going to be just to die for. And then the final week will be lots of music, lots of fun, saying bye to the kids, doing some great stuff with them since they'll have just worked hard for like the first 5 weeks so hard during those different units that we want to kind of reward them at the end with just a lot of fun and something that they're really, really going to remember and just have a great chance for all of us to say bye after, working together for so long. In social studies this week, we did a review game on Monday, which went really well. It was really fun. Trash can basketball. And on Tuesday, they took their exam, which I made, and it was really interesting because I'd never made an exam before. And the way I set it up, it was 200 points, was 25 questions on the front were true and false. And that was just kind of bare bones material about the first 5 presidents, the Articles of Confederation, and the Constitution. And they were a point each. And then the back, they had a list of essay questions where there were 7 sections: Articles of Confederation, Constitution, Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, and Monroe. And under each section, there were like 2 to 3 questions. They had to pick one and write like a little mini, like a paragraph, a mini essay answering that question. They were 25 points each, and there was, X credit and stuff. So they'd wind up having 7 essays at 25 points each. So that's 175 points. And then the 25 from the front, the true and false, made the 200 points. And I was so happy with the grades. I mean, the kids are used to just taking multiple choice tests or like fill in the blank kind of tests. And their grades from that style of assessment directly matched my essay style of assessment. So it proved that they could do the work. They were nervous about it. They took care of their business. Tons of A's and B's. There were no D's. And very little C's or F's. I mean, I'd say out of 47 kids on the team, there were 40 A's and B's and then like 7 C's, F's. And like I said, no D's. So I was really, really pleased with that. And then on Wednesday in social studies, they did a timed write where they had a class period of writing, and they had to write a persuasive piece about the Raise Your Hand campaign that I wrote, which is all about encouraging kids to graduate from middle school and then pursue high school and graduate from there and then pursue college or trade school or vocational school or military, university, whatever. And it gets kids really excited about school and love to learn and stuff. And so they are familiar with this campaign. We've been talking about it throughout the year as kind of this overarching theme for the entire spring. And so they had to write a persuasive piece to the administration about why they should adopt this as a school-wide policy. And those looked really nice. And then on Thursday, they worked in groups to unpack a bunch of historical quotes, talk about how they relate to our lives today and why they're important for all of their peers to know. And then they presented the posters that they had created and the information that they had come up with from that today on Friday. And those went really well too. So like I said, it was a great week. We spent Titan time today introducing the theme of next week, which is Seasons of Love, and it's going to be this whole research unit that's very similar to how True Colors was with talking about diversity and acceptance and no bullying and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to frame it all just in the idea of love. Like, where does love live? Where does it hide? How much, like, where do we find love in our lives? What does love mean to us? And they're going to do research, interviews and online research and print and different kinds of media and stuff to come up with a really nice piece by next Friday about love and what it means and where it is. They're going to continue their readers' logs. They're going to continue their writers' notebooks. A lot of grading this weekend, but I'm really excited to dig in and see what they did with all of these assignments that they were given. But like I said, everything's looking good. It was an absolutely awesome week. I'm really excited to get back in the classroom next week. The kids are feeling good after turning everything in, and I think we'll be good to go on Monday. Thanks.